A lot of times clients come to me and ask me what is it that they can actually do to help generate sales for their e-commerce platforms. Now, if you're a small designer and you're just getting started, it's kind of a complicated answer, right? You probably don't have a lot of traction on your website. You're probably still building out all of your keywords and tagging and starting to really get your website together and launched. Maybe you've had your site for about a year or 2 years. Believe it or not, that's still a really short amount of time to have a website. Some of the biggest websites out there are driving traffic and getting sales because of two reasons. One is history and how long they've had their site, and the second is optimizing it in order to get it on the site and on the first page of Google, Bing, etc. But today we're really going to focus on what is it you can do to get traffic to your site, and then ultimately how you're going to get that traffic and how to kind of keep it a little sticky and get that person to convert. Seems like a lot to cover, and we'll keep it kind of short and sweet. So the first thing you want to start to do when you're really optimizing your site is, dig on the back end. Take a look on the insides, make sure that you're actually tagging everything properly, get those meta descriptions down, make sure that you know what your top keywords are that you're going to be indexing for. Remember, the sooner that you're actually able to do SEO on your site, the sooner you're actually going to be able to benefit from history. History doesn't happen overnight, right? You actually have to work towards building that history. So I would suggest doing something like that pretty early on when you've launched. If you haven't done it yet, go back through and make sure all of your photographs are properly labeled and make sure you have all the right meta descriptions and taggings. This is kind of on the inside, right? On the outside, when it comes to SEO and driving traffic, the other thing you want to start to think about are where your site is being featured. Do you have any press clippings? Are people actually talking about your website? Are they linking back to your site? This is also super important for Google rankings. It's also really important in terms of widening your outreach, right? Ultimately, you want people who are your customers to actually be able to find you on other people's websites, right? And how do you do that? Well, you have to start pitching a little bit, but you need to start putting yourself out there, right? You need to start pitching about your brand. You need to start getting other bloggers and other websites to start to link back to you. Again, we're just talking about SEO. These are very, very basic kind of preliminary ways of driving sales to your e-commerce platform. Other ways we want to think about as far as optimizing sales and getting someone to come back to your site is what you're doing on the digital marketing side, right? How are you actually positioning your company in front of your potential customer? Oftentimes I hear from clients that they spend $50 this time, $100 this other month on buying Facebook ads. And while you might be thinking, oh, Facebook just sent me a coupon, I should go ahead and try that out. If you don't launch your ad in a more targeted and specific way, you're actually wasting a lot of money during the year. If you look back on your spend on digital marketing and you didn't do it in a concise and correct way, you could have spent upwards of $1,500 on crap. What are the times of year that I want to drive traffic to my site? Pick a few key holidays, pick a few key moments that you're actually going to be able to leverage and do some marketing. Once you've gone ahead and picked that event, go ahead then and start to figure out what your graphic assets are going to look like for that digital marketing, right? After you have that, figure out how you're going to translate that back to your site. Make sure that those graphic assets, and if it's a banner ad or a coupon or whatever it is, it's properly translated on the homepage of your website. If it's not back on your homepage and the customer doesn't see the connection between that ad and your website, you've lost them. So really bring it full circle and then do really specific targeting. It's not about getting the numbers of people to your site. It's about getting the right people to your site who are going to convert. You don't want to just get everyone. You don't need male and female between the ages of 15 and 55 coming to your site. You probably need a much smaller segment of that. So the better that we are able to actually target on those markets, the easier we're going to have when it comes to converting and getting sales on your platform. Right? The third thing when it comes to thinking about sales on e-commerce is really to think about your brand outside of the e-commerce platform. Right? Your customers are people, right? They want to be engaged with in real life. Right? So things you might want to think about would be creating some kind of postcards, right? You might want to think about partnering up or being a part of some type of event or doing some kind of sponsorships where maybe you're actually handing out postcards or you're doing a little freebie or a gift or gift bagging events and things like that. Find other ways of getting your brand in front of your customer aside from just being online. So there are a few different ways to drive traffic, right? Once you get people to come to your site, your number one priority is to make your homepage as sticky as possible. And by sticky, I mean engaging content. There's a reason why they're coming to your site. If you don't do your best to keep them there, they're actually going to leave, right? So the other things you want to do in order to help to convert, first of all, some people, and this is kind of a taboo subject, whether to do pop-ups on your homepage or not. And by that, I mean, 10% off if you sign up for our newsletter. I'm personally in favor of that. I think you need to push people to be a part of your community as much as possible. Other people want to do things a little bit less in your face. I say I leave it up to you. But the more you can do to get people to engage and the more you incentivize your customers to actually work on your platform and go deeper besides just being on your homepage, the likely you have to increase sales, right? So your homepage should obviously have things like, a social media feed on there. I want to see images of your Instagram somewhere on your page. I want to see things like lifestyle shots from your recent lookbook. I want to see any type of special as far as like promos, any type of news, anything that I need to know about your brand in order to go a step further. But the first bearing that you actually have and your first responsibility is to sit down with yourself and say, what is my budget? What can I afford to do of all these activities? And then how do I optimize these different activities to better suit my needs, which is optimizing and getting more sales and conversion on e-commerce. Again, I could go on and on and on about this topic. There's so much to talk about when it comes to driving sales. But for that and for more information, I really encourage you to check out my book, Creating Fashion Websites That Sell. Should give you a ton of information on that. Please leave your comments below. Feel free to email me. I'd love to continue the conversation. Thanks so much.